नमस्कार बच्चों, आप सभी को इस वर्चुअल क्लास में स्वागत है। दिस इज द फर्स्ट वीडियो फॉर क्लास 11th. So students, before starting this class, I want to congratulate for opting economics as one of the subject in your class 11th. Students, most of the students are having fear on opting the economics as their main subject in senior secondary level. But students, I assure you that from this class or from these videos, you will be able to study the economics as one of the easiest subject. And I hope you will understand the concepts which we will study through these classes. So students, listen carefully. We will start this class. So let's start from the syllabus. So in class 11th, you have two books. One is the microeconomics, the other one is statistics. So in microeconomics, that is from this episodes onwards, we will be studying the chapters, we will studying the concepts from microeconomics first. So the microeconomics is divided into 4 different units. So these 4 units will be studied in 13 different chapters. So here from these virtual classes, we will be studying one by one. In every episode, we will try to cover the concepts of a single chapter. But I hope and I know it is not possible, but even though we will try to cover these chapters in a single episode. If needed, we will extend the chapters, we will extend the episodes based on the concepts with the number of episodes. So students, so today we will start from the microeconomics. So in microeconomics, you have to learn what do you mean by micro. What is the meaning of micro? Students, micro means small. So what we are going to do with the concept of small here? And students, economics, you know that economics deals with the day-to-day life, that is the day-to-day earning made by the people for their living. So here in economics, we will study about the activities of the people at a very micro level. So here the word micro and microeconomics says that we will be studying the economic units at an individual level. So in microeconomics, we will be studying about the economic activities performed by the small economic unit or the individual economic unit. Take an example, we will be studying about the activities of an individual consumer, individual producer, individual industry, individual firm, or the individual market. So when we study about the microeconomics, we will study only about the individual economic unit or the small economic unit in the economy. So always keep in mind that whenever we are talking about the microeconomics, the concepts of microeconomics, at that time you should be very clear that we are only studying the concept related with the individual economic unit or the small economic units. As I told you, it may be a producer, it may be individual producer, individual consumer, individual market, individual firm, individual industry. So likewise, we will try to study what do you mean by microeconomics and what are the concepts which we need to study further in this microeconomics. So let's start with this chapter with the concept of economics. What do you mean by economics? Students, take example. If you are a richest person in this world or in our country, so being a richest person in this world or in this country, so will you able to buy or will you able to satisfy your need, whatever you need at a point of time, at a single point of time? If I'm asking you, you are having an abundance of money, you are the richest person in the world, and with that money, will you able to purchase or will you able to satisfy your all needs at a point of time? I know surely you will say no. Yes, of course, we will not satisfy our need at a single point of time, even having a huge amount of money with our pocket. Why? Because you should know that human wants are unlimited. That means what? If I'm demanding some commodity at a certain point of time to satisfy my need, but the thing is what? after a certain point of time, you will demand another commodity to satisfy your need. Even if you want to satisfy your need by purchasing a huge amount of commodity or huge numbers of commodity at a point of time, but thing is what, at that time also you will not be able to purchase all those things at a point of time, because the resources which are being utilized to satisfy your need, they are limited. That is being called as what? Scarcity. We have the scarcity of resources which can fulfill your need. So the scarcity denotes that the resources which are being available to satisfy your need, they are limited. So here we have two things. That means here we study that the human wants are unlimited. At the same time, the resources which are available to satisfy these needs, they are limited. So when the wants are unlimited and the resources are limited, at that time the economic problem arises. So here in this economics, we will study how to deal with these economic problem in our economy. So students, in this microeconomics, we will study about the economic problem, and we will study how to deal and how to rationally manage this economic problem. So students, in the concept of economics, we will deal about how to solve this economic problem by managing the limited resources with the rational management. So by the help of this rational management, we will try to resolve the problem of allocation, so that we can make a optimized use of our resources available. So students, I told you that there is a scarcity of resources in the economy. So students, when I talking about the scarcity of resources, at that time you should know in your mind that the resources which are available in the economy to satisfy our needs, they are not only limited, but they have alternate uses. So at this point of time, we need to decide, we need to manage these resources at such condition that it should be allocated at a proper manner, so that every consumer who want to consume the commodity to satisfy his needs, he need to decide what he need to purchase or what he need to consume. When a producer needs to produce a commodity, at that time also he need to decide what he need to produce, that is the what to produce and how to produce. So these are the economic problem which arises in the economy. So through these economics, we will try to deal how rationally we can manage these limited resources to fulfill our needs. So that is the meaning of economics. And apart from that, we will see the meaning of economic problem. The economic problem is the problem of a rational management of resources, or the problem of optimum utilization of resources. It arises because resources are scarce and the resources have alternate uses. So students, so here in the macroeconomics, we will try to resolve the economic problems faced by the small economic units in the economy. So students, let's move ahead. Now we will see the concept, the difference between the two concepts of microeconomics and macroeconomics. As you are studying this economics for the first time in detail, though you have studied about some basic concepts of economics in your previous classes, but here onwards you have to study these concepts in very detailedly, because this will help you to understand the concept. And one more thing, most of the economic students, what they feel that they could not able to understand the concept and the related concept in the other chapter. That means what, here one chapter, the concept which we have studied with one chapter is always used in the another chapter. That means what, these concepts are interrelated and they will be studied as long as you will be having the knowledge of economics, and you will be studying the concept of economics in the classes of 11th and 12th. So students, when you're getting the meaning of these concepts, so listen carefully and always keep in mind about these concepts. You should know the meaning of this concept very detailedly. Okay students, as I told you, here the economics is being divided into two parts. It is broadly classified into two parts, that is microeconomics and macroeconomics. So microeconomics, as I told you, it deals with the small economic units. So students, when you are talking about the microeconomics, Here it deals about the economic issues related with the small economic units. These small economic units are the individual consumer, individual producer, individual industry, individual firm, or it may be individual market. So here we will study about the economic issues related with these individual economic units in an economy. So that is what we are going to study in the microeconomics. So when we are studying about the economic issues of these economic units, the small economic units, we should know what the concepts which we are going to study in this microeconomics. So here in this microeconomics, we will study about the theory of consumers behavior, then we will study about the theory of producers behavior, then we will study about the theory of price. Students, as I told you that in microeconomics, when we are studying about the individual economic unit, take an example of a consumer. So you should know what are the economic issues are related with the consumer. So here, when the consumer want to satisfy his needs, so what he need to do? He need to search. He need to have a, that is the problem of choice he will be facing in the economy. That means what? Whenever he want to fulfill his need, he need to make a choice in the available resources from the economy where that resource can give a maximum satisfaction. That means when a consumer makes a choice between the available commodity in the market, so at that time, he should have a concept in his mind that by the right choice, by making a right choice, by choosing the resources for his satisfaction, he will try to always choose those kind of commodity which can give him a maximum satisfaction. At the same time, when you're talking about the individual producer, as I told you that in microeconomics, when a producer wants to produce a commodity, the first thing is what he need to decide what he need to produce and in what commodity, that is what to produce and how to produce. And one more thing, he need to decide for whom to produce. So these are the some economic issues related with the producer whenever he want to produce the commodity with the available resources, because we know that the resources are scarce and even these resources have a alternate uses. So students, here the producer need to decide what to produce and how to produce and for whom to produce. That means not only that, even by resolving these problems, he will have a motto of getting maximum profit. So that is what the motto of every producer, to get a maximum profit from his production. So here in microeconomics, we will study about these behavior, that is the producer's behavior and the consumer's behavior. So that will be studied in the theory of demand and supply. Okay, students, so that is what the meaning of microeconomics. Now we will move to the macroeconomics. What do you mean by macroeconomics? So students, when we are talking about the word macro, macro means what? Large, big. So here in macroeconomics, the macroeconomics deals with the economic issues, the economic problem related to the country or the economy as a whole. So here in macroeconomics, we will not study the individual problem. We will not study the economic issues related with the individual person or individual consumer or individual producer. Here in macroeconomics, we will try to understand, we will try to deal with the economic issues or economic problems faced by an economy or faced by a country as a whole. Take an example. Here we will study about the concept of GDP, concept of employment, concept of money, budget, the foreign exchange rates, and the fiscal and monetary policies of the government. The policies made by the government is being called as fiscal policy. The money policy which has been taken by the RBI is being called as what? Monetary policy. So here in macroeconomics, we will try to study all these concepts. So students, one more thing you need to keep in your mind that in class 11th, we will be studying only the microeconomics, but you should know the meaning of macroeconomics also. So in detail, the concepts which I have told about the macroeconomics, we will study these concepts in our class 12th. But here in 11th, you should know the meaning of macroeconomics. So students, the vital components of microeconomics, that is the concept which we are going to study in microeconomics, is first one, theory related to equilibrium level of output and employment. theory related to inflationary and deflationary gap in the economy, fiscal and monetary policy, money supply and credit creation, then the government budget, and we will study about the exchange rate and the balance of payment. So students, these are the theories and the basic concepts which we are going to study in the macroeconomics. So now look at the chart. So with this chart we will try to differentiate between the macroeconomics and the microeconomics. So look at the points given here. Students, here the microeconomics deals with the economic issues related to small economic unit as an individual firm, individual household, or an individual consumer. Whereas look at the macroeconomics deals with the economic issues at the level of economy as a whole. Look at the second point. The microeconomics is basically concerned with the determination of price in the market. Accordingly, it is often called as what? The theory of price. And while the macroeconomics is basically concerned with the determination of aggregate output and general price level in the economy as a whole. Accordingly, it is often called the theory of income and employment. Then look at the third point. The study of microeconomics assumes that macro variables remain constant. Thus, it is assumed that the general price level is constant while we are studying determination of price in the individual market. While in the study of macroeconomics assumes that the micro variables remain constant. Thus, it is assumed that the distribution of GDP remains constant when we are studying the level of GDP in the economy. And the last point, the principal component of microeconomics are the theory of consumer behavior, theory of producer behavior, and the theory of price. Whereas the principal components of the macroeconomics are theory related to equilibrium level of output and employment, theory related to inflation and deflationary gap in the economy, fiscal and monetary policy, money supply and credit creation, government budget, exchange rate, and BOP, that is balance of payment. Okay students, this is the basic difference between the micro and macroeconomics of the economy. Now moving forward, we will study about the economics as a positive economics and a normative economics. So students, here you need to understand what do you mean by positive economics and what do you mean by normative economics. So here the positive economic deals with the economic issues, the economic problem, where the economic problem and the economic issues are studied based on the facts and the figures. That means we will study the economic issues, we will study the economic problem based on the facts, the actual facts of the economy. And the figures, that means what? The data is available with the economy. Whereas when we are talking about the normative economics, in normative economics we study these economic issues, the economic problem of an economy based on the assumptions. What assumptions? What ought to be, and based on the opinions of the economist on the economic problem and economic issues of the economy. Students, here the normative economics will not deal with the actual facts and the figures. For the data, it will only depend upon on the opinions of the economist. So what ought to be? Take an example of Manrega. So when you're talking about the Manrega, so here what the economist will suggest that it is a program run by the government where it is considered to be the unproductive work. So that will be the opinion of the economist. Or they may say that this program will end the problem of unemployment in the economy. Even these economists may say that the Manrega program, which is run by the government, is completely based on the monies of taxpayers. So this program should be stopped. So these are the opinions of the economist based on some economic issues of the economy. So where they may have a different kind of opinion on the certain economic problem. But when you are talking about the positive economics, so here the positive economics will not study on the opinions or the what ought to be. So here the economic problem is studied based on the facts and the figures available, the data available with the economy, with the government, or with the economist. So take an example, if you are talking about the poverty level. So here we have that 22% of our total population is under below poverty line. And one more thing, if the population rises or the population growth rise with the existing rate, they may assume that the poverty line may cross above the 22% of total population by 2020. So these problems, these issues are studied based on the data available with the economy or with the government. Whereas normative economics will not study about these economic issues based on the facts. So these are the basic difference between the normative economics and the positive economics. So students, you should have a clear concept about these concepts. That means what? The positive economics and the normative economics. Now look at one more chart about these normative and positive economics. We will study about the difference between these two economics. So students, in positive economics deals with the economic issues or the economic behavior related to past, present and future. Whereas the normative economics deals with the opinions of the economists related to the economic issues or economic problem. Next one, the positive economics, statement of positive economics related to what was, what is and what would be. Whereas the statement of normative economics related to what ought to be. Third point, the statement of positive economics are not necessarily the statement of truth. These may be true or false. For example, somebody says population of India is more than the population of China. It is definitely a positive statement, but it is wrong. One can verify it. So, in normative economics, a normative statement cannot be termed as true or false. These statements involve opinions only. For example, somebody says that old age pension should be stopped. It is just an opinion. And the fourth one, the facts and figures, that is as an element of positive economics, are verifiable for truth, whereas the normative statements are not verifiable at all. And at last, the positive economics does not involve value judgment, whereas the normative economics involves value judgment. Okay students, these are some basic difference between the positive economics and the normative economics. Now after studying about the meaning of economics, the economic problem and the positive and normative economics, now we'll study about the concept of economy. So what do you mean by economy? So economy is a system where the people live together for their earning. So economy is a system where people of an area earn their living. That means it is a system where the people live together. He may be a consumer, he may be a producer, it may be a firm or industry where they live together and earn for their living. So that is being studied as the concept of economy, where you can see that, take an example of teacher. Teacher goes to school for earning. Doctors go to hospital for their earning. At the same time, the merchants or the producer go to their farm or go to their shop for earning. So here all these people live in a system where they are interdependent upon each other and they fulfill their needs by the resources available in the economy. So students, this economy, the system, I told you that it is being studied based on the nature of the economic activities and the level of economic activities done by these people. So when we are talking about the economy and when studying about the economy, we study these two elements, that is the level of economy and the nature of economy. So these two are studied based on the economic activities done by the people in an economy. So while we are studying about these two elements, we will study about the economic activities, that is the nature of economic activities done by the people and the level of economic activities done by the people in an economy or in a country. So here, when we are talking about the economy, these economy can be further classified into three economy. So based on the degree of the control by the government, it can be classified. So how it can be classified? Take an example, the countries like China, Russia and North Korea. So here these economies are being completely governed and completely managed and controlled by the government. So here all the economic activities are being completely governed or completely controlled by the government. So that is why these kind of economy, the economies of these countries are being called controlled economy or centrally planned economy. Take an example of countries like UK and America. Here the economies of these countries are being called as what? Free economy or market economy. because here the degree of control by the government on the economy is notional, very low. So that is why these economies are being called as what? Free economy or a market economy. But take the economy of our country. Is it a centrally planned economy, or it's a market economy or a free economy? Students, we are having a mixed economy. That means what? Here we can experience both kind of economy, that is the centrally planned economy, even the market economy. That means what? The degree of control by the government on the economy and the economic activities are moderate. So when we are saying that it is moderate, that means what? Partially it is being controlled by the government and partially it is free economy where the market is being run by the privatization, where the most of the economic activities are being controlled and managed by the private sector. So based on the profit motive. So here one more thing you need to know about these three economies. When we are talking about the centrally planned economy or the controlled economy, so here the economic activities done by the government will be based on the social welfare. That means for the benefit of the people. Here the economic activities will not be taken for profit making. Whereas in free economy or the market economy, all the economic activities are based on the profit maximization. So here the producer will only focus on making the maximum profit. Whereas in the mixed economy, as the economy of India, we can see that the economic activities are done on both the motive where we will have a social welfareness along with the profit making. So students, this is the concept of economy and the types of economy. So students, I hope you could enjoy this class and you have understood the concept which I have taught today. So based on this concept, I have given some homework. So note down the homework and I hope you can do this homework very easily, and in case of any doubt, you can contact us. Okay students, that's all for today. We will meet in the next episode with the remaining concepts, the other concepts of microeconomics. Until then, keep learning, stay safe. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.